All right. Good morning. Well, oh, this is beautiful. Sorry, I would happen to be standing here and I look up. Oh yeah, there's the Death Square, which that's a cool thing that I found out. In fact, let's go ahead and take that out of the city square. But no, I was talking about the cherry blossoms. Like I was looking at my ski slope, the artificial mountain that I created, and then the real mountain. Oh, it's already beautiful. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I want to show you the view from my son's room in our house. We have this house over here. There's my room, in front of the door, protecting. This is my daughter's room, which I made this wall just because this fox kept getting out, and I plan on. Oh, actually, that's what we should do. Oh, those look cool. In the city texture pack. And then there's my son's room. Look at this view. He made a window wall to see like all of that, and I'm originally from up in the mountains, the Buena Vista area. Oh no, Buena Vista. It is just an area of like 2 to 5,000 people, just up in the middle of the mountains. It's a very happy place, but it's a very boring place and a very depressed place. So like it can be very happy, it can be very depressed. Just depends. But anyways, we shall put this. Actually, let's see, that was made from nether bricks. Do I have any nether bricks? Let's see. Yes, so regular nether bricks. You can at least have two of these, but I'm curious. I kind of need a. Oh well, I guess I could run back and forth for this one. But, anyways, happy good morning, and everybody. It is morning. I've got to go to work here soon, but I just wanted to add something to the shack of shame because I've been arguing with a family member about President Trump and what he's doing, and honestly, ugh, like I'm mad about the tax breaks for the super wealthy. I think if he's gonna do good, he's got to do good, you know, equity, equitable good for everybody. And I think a lot of people don't understand math and statistics and like proportions. So he was able to give like flat tax breaks across the board. Everybody got, oh, so I guess you can't do the red. That's a shame. But anyways, not that big of a deal because you can get a bunch of nether bricks just by smelting netherrack and then crafting those into bricks. You just don't have to use the nether wart. So, but anyways, we are going to add this to the shack of shame. What it's gonna be: divisive politics. The shack of shame. So, anyways, wait, might have to do this. Do we have? Okay, we have a couple books: Prohibition, Landlords, and we're gonna do divisive politics because I'm upset. Like, I generally think that I do a good job. I work for a nonprofit that promotes DEI, that is very adamant about equality, equity, you know, treating everybody fairly, like being kind, and we teach around the world. Like it's an international school that links people, and and then she goes and gets mad at me because I don't get mad at Trump. And I'm just like, I don't care what he's doing. I know that some of it sucks, some of it's good. He closed the border overnight like that. And I fully support legal immigration. I believe that we need to know who's coming in. So, shack of shame. Let's see. And it is shame because she got mad and she was just totally like livid. Shack of shame. Just because I wasn't like upset that he declared that there are two sexes. There are two sexes. There's like 30 genders, and that's fine. And that's the thing that drives me nuts is like nobody's arguing that. There are two biological camps scientifically, divisive politics. Oops. Politics. Divisive poly. Okay, well that's fine. It is a long name, but basically, AKA the spin. Oh, my first pretty much wife. I consider her like we would have. I mean, we were living together. We were together for 3 years. Longest relationship I've actually ever had with a woman. Um, I mean, with anybody. I haven't had any relationships with anyone else, but um, the longest time I've dated anyone was 3 years. And I, well, actually, no. I think my kid's mom and I made it. It was 6 months, 9 months. Anyways, we made it pretty long too. And that one was more, we just realized that the age gap was just too much. She was younger than me. And even though I thought it was creepy, she was still legally 18 before we started doing that. But anyways, and I had permission from both her parents. So that's more of like a, one of those situations. It was weird. I was like the only one that had a problem with the age gap that really had a problem. But I didn't speak up or do anything because I was like, hey, she's hot. So that's all I cared about. I was thinking with the wrong head, and that's my bad. But she blessed me with two beautiful kiddos, and I love her for it. We are still co-parents. I wouldn't even say friends, just co-parents, and we work together to make sure that these kids have everything they need. Oh, shoot, which actually makes me, I gotta go drop something off. And now that I live in the same town, that's nice. So, like, before I lived up in Foco, and now I'm down in Loveland. So that's a lot of doxing. If you do anything against me or my kids, I will break your knees. And that is a promise. I don't care about going to jail for that. I'd be a hero and I'd have my job back. But let's talk about divisive politics. So the spin. The reason I bring up my first ex, my first serious ex, was because she used to go off on this all the time. She hated how politicians would lie and try to trick you and terrorism or vanilla terrorism because that's what it is. And like I hope that I don't get flagged for that, but it's basically a term that I coined because terrorism. Because terrorism means ruling through fear or coercion. Let's see. In fact, let's do that. Terrorism means to rule or govern through fear, violence, or coercion. Like it is forceful governance to rule or govern. And that's why like people use violence to push their political or religious goals through fear. And we're at war with terror, by the way. I mean, we don't take kindly to people circumnavigating the process of law. Which, as I say that, it's understandable that people are upset that President Trump and Elon Musk are doing what they're doing. But that's the thing. They won. They get to do these things. And like and all the fighting and the bickering and the like the energy wasted on like kicking and screaming, dragging to rule or govern through fear, threats of violence, or actual violence, I believe is the term that I remember reading. As I looked this definition, threats of violence or actual violence. Already closing the border and not being a whiny little child like President Biden was doing. Threats of violence or actual violence. Sorry, I gotta focus on that. Like, he held our country hostage for a deal to give Ukraine money. Like, that's, no, keep it separate issues. I don't understand how that's such a hard thing to do. Like, don't fund Ukraine with an American border bill. That is the dumbest thing ever. And the reason I say this is, and in fact, let's go ahead and do page 2. USAID. Employees were offered 8 months, and I'm going to repeat that 8 months. The employees that were essentially laid off, it wasn't a firing, they were laid off. Just like I was a couple of times in my career. I was laid off once for performance issues, and and I was a group of people. Like they hired like a handful of people, like 10 of us at a time, and then they laid off like 10 of us at a time. It wasn't firing for outright, oh, you're, this and that. It was performance. And there was also a huge lack of training. So it was like, wow, thanks for helping me, further my career. They like I had no manager, no nothing. I was just sitting there looking at code. They didn't even give me tasks to do. Oh, except for answer a phone and answer questions that I had no idea what to do. And they told me to just look it up. I'm a little sour at the first tech company I worked with, but they paid me good. I was making 50K right out of college, so that part was good. But let's see, the employees that were laid off, like many people did just during the pandemic. Like a lot of the country was laid off. Like I was fortunate to be an essential worker, and then I was still laid off. The employees that were laid off were offered 8 months. 8 months. That's almost a year of vacation. Are you kidding me? I, I haven't. That's the first I heard, and I had to hear it from Elon. 8 months pay. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, 3 months, fine. 8 months? Go yourself. Anyways, sorry. That's crying little babies. Like, oh my God. Like, oh, to be so nice. Here, take a year off. What? You don't have to work. We'll still pay you. What? Are you. What? There we go. Divisive poly. Landlords, prohibition, and I'm gonna put that there, and I'm gonna have a talk with my family member and just be like, do you realize? Well, first, no. Here's the due diligence. So, I heard a claim from Elon Musk. Now, you got to take that with a grain of salt because I've been following very closely what he's been doing with well, not very closely, but I've been watching what he posts and I've been reading, and then I've been like also comparing that with what I've been seeing other people post. My Twitter or my X app, sorry, I don't know why I said that. I've been very good about calling it X app because it is now X app. He bought it, whatever. The deal was done, and so that's that. In fact, let's go get a bunch more netherrack and let's start like processing a bunch more bricks because we're gonna make a red kingdom. Okay. But anyways, so that made me really mad. So my first thing I need to do is I need to look up an article, verify that that's actually what's happening, that they are being offered this money, and then, yeah. And if they are, if that is true, then I am going to start talking to everybody that has been whining and complaining about it because guess what? That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm happy for them, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want them to be bums out on the street, but think about it. If that was any other company, you'd get a severance package of, I don't know, maybe one or two paychecks. That's what I got from the tech company. I worked there about a year. I was an intern for about 3 months. Or how did that work? It was almost like just 1 year, and it's funny because on LinkedIn it makes it look like I was there longer than I was because it's like 3 months of that were an intern, making $15 an hour, working 30 hours a week, and I had a son at this time, by the way, and then I got hired on directly, and then I had a daughter. I got 3 days off to go be with my daughter. That was bold, like. And so I'm glad that like that's being readjusted. And I wasn't even doing anything. That's the part that drives me crazy is like they didn't have me doing anything. Like I didn't have to be there. Like all they were missing was one more person stumbling through trying to answer a phone. Like, I mean, but my actual department, oh, like my position, my, uh, oops. So anyways, that's my gripe with that. But, um, oh wait, come on now. I do want the light. So anyways, and we argued because she wants me to hate this guy, all because, and I do. I have a cousin that's a transgender person, and that's fine. I will address her as she wants to be addressed, and I will be respectful of that. That's fine. That's what we can control. Oh, I hate how quick it flows down here. And that's all we can do because just like freedom of religion and freedom for religion allows people to believe whatever they want to believe. And I believe, and I follow the South Park of this, you're not really a woman until it's more scientifically sound. However, you're close enough, just like the Hydras in India, that I will respect it and I will call you whatever you want me to call you. Just like sir and ma'am. Like, I feel like that Like people don't say sir and ma'am when they're talking to strangers, and like that kind of drives me nuts. Like that's kind of disrespectful. You don't know this person. Although unless you don't know like whether they're one or the other, or they don't want to be misgendered. Like okay, I can kind of get that. But, you know, to some people, that was offensive when we started, like, not calling people sir and ma'am, like, because they were taught, especially in the military, like, you say sir all the time or ma'am, like, you cannot, you know, be disrespectful, even accidentally disrespectful to a superior. That's how it works, like, and so, and I wasn't even in the military, like, really. I mean, I trained, I got washed out, you know, like, became a soldier in the war on drugs, but aside from that, you know. So that, yeah. So, anyways, that's my gripe this morning. I woke up, I looked at X app, and I saw Elon post this thing that we offer them 8 months pay and a severance package. Like, oh, okay, wait, what? Like they had 8 months to go find a new job or get their job back too. That's the other thing. Like these are only temporary. And the people that they got rid of were the people that were standing in their way, preventing them from doing what they wanted to do, which was a big aggressive audit. And it blows my mind that we haven't done this anyway. Like when we audited the Pentagon, that's when 9/11 happened and all this gold supposedly went missing. You know, for anyone who's curious about that, watch the movie Loose Change about 9/11. Loose Change highlighted, well, actually, even better was Zeitgeist or Zeitgeist. Like that one, it was a three-parter. The first one called out Christianity for the scam that it is. And it is, sorry, it is a total pyramid scheme. Now, granted, they are doing a service to our Creator by trying to help guide us and be like the shepherds of a flock. But at the same time, like they don't get taxed, they get money. Like they don't have to like be accountable. Like they're just the taxing thing. That's the biggest thing. Any other business, you try to make money. It doesn't matter that if you're doing something morally good, you're not paying the same price tag to operate in this country and you know get money from the wealthy people of, not that they're all wealthy and not that you know on average we're wealthier than, but some countries, yeah, like you know, considering that I could walk down and get a job anywhere, like you know, like a food restaurant or whatever, even minimum wage is better than a lot of countries have it. Not all countries. I mean, that's what we're finding out, and that's what like, you know, we've kind of been work slaves ourselves because we're so dedicated to the country and everything that we'll, you know, allow, we'll be like, what is it, the lobsters in the pot. Like the water starts to boil and you don't know that it's boiling, but if you get out of the pot and come back, then you're like, oh gosh, no, this is way too hot. But if you don't have anything to compare it to, then you're like, yeah, this is all right. Or like that picture of the dog in that burning house, like, this is fine. I'm fine. Like, in fact, let's go ahead and just leave that lava there. 'Cause I almost have a full, although that destroyed my pickaxe. Look at how fast it's whittling down. Because I think it's based on the block, and since they're just like one quick tap, let's see. So, anyways, that just made me upset this morning because she's like so angry and she's mad that I'm not mad. And like, and I don't like some of the things that he says, but at the end of the day, like, what happened to us? We used to deal with like excessive racism and jokes and like comedians saying all sorts of mess up stuff. But then they would say like, I'm only joking. And it was just for laughs and like shock value and all that. And I mean, and actually, so here's the thing, you know, they want to compare Trump to Hitler, but yet they're finding out that USAID, which is supposed to be a nonprofit to help with the development, it's the United States Aid and what was that, International Development, the Association for International Development, I think is what that actually stands for. And that's great. I love it. Like, let's help the world. Like, I am so down for that, especially since we keep blowing it up. Like, you know, like let's go help the places that, like the Iraq War, all those places. We need to rebuild everything that we blew up. You know, we need to apologize and be like, we were mad, you know. And then 9/11, I think that was still an inside job. Like, I thought that for a long time. And the fact that they think that, like the new administration coming in, that's kind of like, whoa, a breath of fresh air. Like, wait, we're going to try to get to the bottom of these conspiracy theories and figure out what's what. Like, I just want to know what's what. Like, there's a lot of things that don't add up, and that's why, loose change. It didn't say definitively like, yes, we know that this was an inside job. It was a false flag, but they just mention a bunch of information, like how was a passport able to flutter to the ground unscathed, yet everything else was just like incinerated, immolated, like just destroyed. Yet a passport made it. Like it was like somebody walked by and like, oh, there's a passport on the ground. Like that's how dumb it seemed. But that's human thinking. Like I mean, and actually, I know somebody that did that. We had a pencil stealing club back in the day, and that's actually why I kind of stopped hanging out with this kid. Like he kept stealing. He stole from me. He stole from our classmates, and I was just like, what? How disrespectful. That's not yours. Like, no. Like, here's what's yours. Here's what's not yours. And he stole like some of my favorite Legos. And I didn't have a lot of money. Like, I mean, my family wasn't exactly rich. He lived in a big, nice, fancy mansion, and he had the audacity to take my Legos. Like, f that guy. And we stopped being friends. And I think I finally told him later. We've hung out since, and like, but I've since told him, be like, it's all good, but maybe it's not all good from his side, and that's understandable. So yeah, I guess there's that. But anyways, back to the politics. So first thing I got to do is I got to find an article of some more trustworthy source, an outside source that's not Elon Musk, and that says what the deal was for them. And once I find that, and if it's what he says, then guess what? I have no sympathy for them. Like that's just a restructuring. Like that could happen at any company. Like a new boss comes in or they get bought out. I have a colleague. We didn't really hang out that much, but a transgender colleague. She used to be a he, now is a she. Again, totally fine, respectful. Like, I will respect her to the fullest. If she wants to be a she, that's totally fine. On a scientific and South Park level, which doesn't even need repeating or bearing, she won't be a biological female. She's a cis male. What is that? Transgender female. I don't know. And I feel like that's too wordy too. But I'll just call her now. That's fine. I will. That's respectful. I believe. And if she has a problem with it, I would want her to tell me, not other people to tell me for her. And I don't know. And I actually do interact with a lot of people that they're gender fluid, and that's totally fine. In fact, we encourage pronouns on name tags at our school. Like, it's like, I already work for like possibly one of the most like uh, encouraging. In fact, we still have DEI efforts. In fact, let's do like a couple stacks of those because that was like the main reason I wanted to come down and do that. Is like, let's see, um, to make some skull blocks. But no, even though because we're a nonprofit, we're not a government funded school, so we get to do that. We can still do. I have pronouns in my email signature. In fact, it's he, him, his, and then L because I speak Spanish. I'm not Hispanic in any way, but I took Spanish for 4 years in high school. I traveled to Costa Rica. Yo puedo hablar español, pero no bueno como un niño es que tienen más o menos 5 años. I speak horrible Spanish, but I speak it. And again, it's a respect thing. There's a lot of people that speak Spanish in this country, a lot of people that come from Central and South America, and whether it's legal or illegal, I don't care. In fact, I dealt with a lot of illegals up in Leadville and did not care. Did not care. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't actually, I don't know if I did or not, but like I heard about people that were like deported and like, you're like, oh wait, they weren't a citizen? Like, not that I didn't care. I did not care. Like, everybody got along, worked, and more or less. Like, it was a cold, isolated area that you had to get along with your neighbors. Otherwise, you were in for a very rough time. And we didn't have communication technology like we do today to where we could clear the air or, leisurely do one thing or another. It was more just like, oh, crud, hey, we're. So, anyways. But 8 months, that drives me nuts because, like, and I'm happy for them, but at the same time, they gotta shut up, right? And everybody that's like mad about it, like that's a restructuring, like, or at least please stop creating hysteria over it. Shut up is even too mean and too harsh for me, but like, I wouldn't actually tell anybody to shut up, but I would just be like, come on, really? Like this is what you're upset about? I mean, if I had 8 months, I would have. I mean, even if I just did nothing but played video games and I'm still getting paid, like 8 months. That's ridiculous. Fire me tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. I love my job now, and I do make good money now, and I'm going to continue to serve. And everywhere I've worked, it's for the good of the company. As funny as that Office Space is this good for the company? I really do. I follow that every place I work because guess what? They're giving me money. Like they are helping me survive and thrive. Now, whether it's a lot of money or not, maybe. Like, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, it depends on the company, how long you've been there. I mean, they're not just going to hand you everything. You got to earn it and you got to put in your time anywhere you go. Or you have to put in your time somewhere. That's the other thing. And my friend that got laid off, she is a senior software developer. Like she has years of experience, and so she will be able to find a good job. She'll bounce back. It sucks for now, and we even talked about that. I was like, I'm so sorry that happened. She's like, no, it's fine. I'm actually kind of looking forward to some time off to kind of get back to myself, do some self-care and stuff like that. And I was like, right on. That's great. Like, I wish everybody has that. And I did the same thing too. When I got laid off, from that tech job, for the first tech job, they did give me a severance package that was pretty generous. Like I got I want to say a few grand, like an extra month's pay or something, just to kind of like grease the wheels while I find a new job. And I was grateful for that. I was like, you know what? Sucks that I lost my job, but if this is how you're gonna treat me, I'm not as mad about that. And I did. I even left a review on Glassdoor. I was like, their training leaves a little bit lacking, but like they're a great company and they're expanding very fast. And I basically said, like, I understand. Like, I get it. And I wasn't performing because I didn't know what to do. I was like, I, I showed up. I mean, I think that was basically enough because I had to travel the other side of town. Like, it took me about a half hour to get to work every day, and it was up in like the industrial part over by the breweries, and I was an alcoholic. I did not, like, I couldn't handle drinking well because I've had some family trauma and some other trauma, like, my dad's suicide, like, you know, dealing with and cannabis prohibition, that will cause you trauma because I liked cannabis all the time when I was growing up. I was like, I don't see the problem with this. Did great on tests, did great in school, did great in sports. Like, oh wait, those are different things. Sweet berries. Yeah, so anyways, in fact, let's go feed the fox some sweet berries. There you go. Oh, get some sweet berries. Uh-oh, wait, where's the other cat? Okay, good. I was like, there's two cats. Uh-oh. Wait, how do I get out? There you go. Also. Oh, wait, you have a thing. Oh, an egg. Okay. Foxes pick up things and they run around with them. It's so cute. Okay. And for anyone wanting like cute and pleasant, go check out Waddles. He does some amazing videos and he's so entertaining. It's one of my favorite YouTubers. Waddles and Fighting Cowboy, my two personalities in the gaming universe. All right. Oh, and I'm actually almost time to go. But I just wanted to point that out. Like, if they're really getting, and so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look into it and be like, okay, yes, they are, or okay, no, they're not. And depending on that, then that's how, we'll have to play this. And that's just one facet of it. Like, and they're already finding things like, why does the Social Security database have anybody over 100? Like, that's not realistic. Maybe one person over 100, but there were millions of records of numbers that were over 100. And, like, there needs to be a more efficient recycling use. Like, once someone is pronounced dead, they need to have their Social Security number filed with the government, and they need to be declared dead. Now, I can understand wrongful deaths or something. Okay, just don't issue that number right away. Put it back in the pool that like has to wait 10 years. Okay, so then that scrubs the age away, so there's no possibility or no potential for an accidental program to look at it and be like, oh, we need to pay this person, they're of this age, like they qualify. Like, even if it's not happening, that's just sloppy coding. Like, I mean, oops. Like, from a programmer's perspective, that's just lazy. Like, I mean, and I get it if you didn't have time, but if you've got several government workers, like just looking at the work that I've done in tech jobs, there's no excuse. Like, I mean, if you have somebody telling you, hey, we need to get rid of all of these, or at least just move them to a different bucket. Oh, there we go. Once it's moved to another bucket, then bada bing. Like, oh, let's see. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an article that says, oh, they got 8 months severance pay for being laid off. And that's the people that refused. At least I think I want to look at that. I mean, I could be wrong there. It could have been just like a wide swath of performance-related layoffs. At the same time, if you're not supporting the new president, that's kind of like you're not performing the job as expected. Like, if you work for the government, that's now your boss. Like, I'm sorry. If that was any other company, nobody would say anything. They'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." Like, the new boss says to do this and you didn't do that, well, okay, then, I think there'd be more of a disciplinary like process, but Colorado's at will. I mean, like you can get hired and fired and quit without any notice. It's a prick move, and I'm kind of mad at one of my buddies for doing that like 3 or 4 times. I was just like, just because I didn't do that. Like I put in 2 weeks notice every job. Like that's just what I did. Whenever I wanted to quit and I knew that I wasn't working out, I did the respectable thing and showed respect to the person that took a chance on me to give me money to work and to be trusted with their store, their food, or their whatever. Like that's a level of trust, and that's why I was always promoted to like assistant manager or manager, not real manager. I've been like assistant and like supervisor in some capacity, but not like actual like the manager. So, but in a couple of jobs too. Like I was trusted with security, keys to stores, locations, keys to people's houses. Like I had a key at an apartment complex to every single unit. Never once betrayed it. Never even thought of betraying it. I was like, well, first off, I was like, well, I would go to jail, and rightfully so. But like, it didn't even enter my mind. I was like, that's their stuff. Got to be very respectful of them when I want to do a work order or something. You got to knock, you got to ask them and plan with them a certain day and time. So, anyways, that's my time. I got to go get ready for work. I will see you in the next one. And that's the thing is like, she went she was so ingrained in like it's the propaganda, the anti-Trump propaganda that where it'll highlight and magnify every bad thing he's ever done in his life. And during the campaign they were digging like decades in the past to find racist stuff from him, and they did, but it's like, I said some stupid things when I was younger. Like if I was beholden to all of that, oh my gosh, I said some really racist jokes and stuff, and that never meant it. Like never hated anybody, but being a redneck up in the mountains, you kind of just tend to joke with your friends and like, oh, that's bad, or and then like eventually I'd have friends talk to me and be like, that might have been crossing a line, and I was like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Thank you for telling me. Like it was more of that thing, like, oh, saying I got gypped or Jewed. I dated a Jewish lady. That was actually my first wife, I consider her. She was very sad about that. It broke her heart, and I didn't realize that. And I was like, oh, because we're making fun of Jewish people, and you're a Jewish people, so I get it now. I was being mean to the woman that I loved so like deeply, and I was just like, that's messed up. And fortunately for me, she only thought my friend was saying it when I was saying it, and so I don't know if I ever actually like told her like, no, it was me too, because I was scared. I was like, I didn't want her to feel bad, and then to be mad at me. Oh, like that's. I'm already trying to dodge, and walking on eggshells and dodging fights. But anyways, that's another thing. Young love and relationships. So, ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Just be kind to each other, and just know that like, these things. There are a lot of big things happening, but wait till the dust settles and see if it's really as bad as you think, and then have your outrage. But to have your outrage now, just because people lost an election, okay, get over it. Like, you lost. Same thing we told all the Trump supporters when Trump lost last time. Get over it. Like, you lost. And now I'm starting to wonder if there wasn't, fraud. Because, okay, real quick, let's talk about this and then I'll go. But there's this thing I read in the paper, the Chaffee County Times, about how up in Chaffee County, they were unable to check the footage or check some voting machine thing because the only thing that could play back the media, the whatever that had the data, somebody dropped it and broke it. Okay, so get another one, play it. Like this is an obstruction of justice, basically, like tampering with evidence. Like, basically like destroying the only thing that can play a thing. First off, why do we have that technology? Second off, okay, then get a new one. Like you can't just not be able to prove something. And that's just a clear sign of that there's potential fraud going on because why don't they want to prove something? Probably because it can't be proven or it will prove what they don't want proved. So there you go. And it's like, and they did this. Like they, and I was like, are you kidding me? How do people not like? I sympathize for these people that think the election was stolen when there's stupid stuff like that going on. I'm like, well, we can't prove that it didn't. And they're like, okay, well, innocent until proven guilty. But come on now, like, just get a new machine. So, anyways, that's my little mini rant for like I want to know without a doubt that this didn't happen. And just because it got won in a few court cases, that doesn't really mean anything because court cases are subjective. Like it's really who has the most money, who can wait it out, and who can do the most tricks. Like it's not fair justice in my eyes. Like it's just not. And it's a waste of money too. All this lawfare that like I mean, how much did Trump spend in court and millions spent? All to find out, oh, but he's a felon, but he doesn't need to do jail time. So he's not a real felon. Like, I did jail before I was even convicted or tried or anything. I spent quite a few days in jail, because it's puts you in jail, make sure you understand that you are now being charged with this. You spend a night in jail and booking. They're very disrespectful. They make you wait like 6 to 8 hours in booking. It's like the sober up tank too, or like observation. And yeah, and it's just ridiculous. So anyways, ta-ta for now. I will see you in the next one.